last week still have many people on edge. The first one was a 6.4 magnitude quake. The second measured in at a 7.1. Safety and preparedness is, of course, on everyone's mind right now. Recently, the Department of Natural Resources inspected more than 200 public school buildings in the state. They found 40% of them are not structurally prepared if an earthquake was to hit here. Chris Reykdal is the Washington State Superintendent of Public Instruction, here to talk about that and also some other big topics facing public education in our state. So first, let's talk about the earthquakes, since it's top of mind. You requested $200 million from the legislature to make some seismic adjustments and retrofitting to our schools. They only gave you $20 million of what you had asked for. So what message does that send, do you think, to parents about our kids' safety in our schools, given the structures in our buildings?
Well, this is a big issue in our state. We obviously live in a very active seismic region, and so in addition to sort of active quake risk, there's this issue of water, lead in our drinking water, which has been tested over and over. So we really proposed a comprehensive safety plan to the legislature, and while they didn't fully fund it by any stretch, they rely a lot on local school bonds to pass to build some of this. So while the state still needs to step up, our voters, in an unprecedented way this last February, passed bond measures like we've never seen, and many of those will have safety upgrades. They will have seismic retrofits. They will have clean water installs. Lots of progress, but it's local voters. That's the challenge. Our state needs to step up now and pay their share of the capital budget to make sure that every school is safe, even if they can't pass a local bond, or even when they do, they probably don't have the tax base to really build out a comprehensive retrofit.
So is there action being taken now to identify which schools need the help and give them the support they need?
Yeah, we have the ability to do some of that modeling in our office, but with the partnership of the Department of Natural Resources and their geologists, they really help us understand where the biggest risk occurs. We have to match that data up and really deliver to the legislature a request that is very specific to the highest risk and start to work down that list.
Okay, I want to talk about our kids and mental health, which is a topic that unfortunately we talk about a lot here on the news. In 2017, 84 teens died by suicide in Washington state, almost double the number that we saw in 2010. In the last legislative session, you pushed for more funding to address mental health in our schools. So first of all, what do you believe is the root cause to what our kids are struggling with right now?
Yeah, you know, that's really the critical question we all want to know, and researchers are certainly trying to understand this question around the country and in our state and, quite frankly, around the world. We think there are lots of causes. Hope, while it is hard to put a scientific case together, there is a sense of anxiety amongst teens that is different, and it is undoubtedly the amount of media they get, both sort of nationally, but their time on screens and their constant sort of bombardment of their cognitive processes on risk and fear, and it's just different. I think we had that when we were kids. We didn't have it 24/7 on our devices and in our lives, and so you can't just point to that, but there is something different out there, and it's a different risk, and we're quite frankly better at collecting the data on when students attempt to harm themselves or commit suicide. So some of it is we now fully understand what's really happening in terms of the outcome.
Well, understanding is half the battle then. So as superintendent, what is the strategy moving forward to give these kids the support they need through the schools?
Yeah, we think the schools are obviously a critical part of this. Family recognition of this, so a larger awareness of what suicide risk looks like, how do you intervene, how do you engage a young person who's at risk, and of course the schools are one of the great places to do that because we have them for 6 to 8 hours a day. We have trained professionals. They're a first line of intervention. But even when we train enough folks in our schools and add more counselors and support staff, there have to be community resources. When you refer a young person in crisis to get significant support and help, there has to be something in the community because that's not the expertise of schools. We're a first line identifier, and then we have to deliver that person, that child. So it's not just beefing up counseling and mental health in schools, it's also making sure that our community mental health systems are strong. That is a partnership between local government and the state.
That's critical for all of us. All right, standardized testing, we're seeing a shift right now in how we measure student comprehension and understanding. Some people just don't like to take tests or they aren't good at it. There is a move away from some of these tests and that they're required to graduate. So in May, the governor signed a bill modifying the high school graduation requirements. Funding has been a real issue for schools, though, and so critics would say they don't have enough resources, the schools that is, to be able to offer a lot of different options to assist kids in graduating, meeting the requirements. So how do you respond to those concerns when it comes to testing?
Well, our state's now taking a lead in the country, and I'm really proud of the bipartisan work. So this wasn't just Republicans or Democrats, it was both of them. They've not only added $3,500 per child to our education system over the last couple of years, which is by far the fastest growth rate of any state in the country. They've also allowed us to graduate students through career pathways. So not just a high stakes test, which a student may use, but for a lot of students, they say that's not my thing, or I don't intend to go to a university. I really want to be a technician. I want to be in the trades. I want to build homes or design. They now have the ability to take coursework with rigorous standards to meet graduation. So it's just been awesome. We're now a top 10 state in the country in math and English language arts, so we're performing better than we ever have. We've hit a record high graduation rate. We're now at record high funding, and now we can really embrace all students regardless of their pathways. So this is a segment you're running on your show pretty regularly about bipartisanship and kind of bridging the divide. This has been a bipartisan effort in Olympia. It's business, it's labor, it's Democrats and Republicans, and our state's just rocking it right now.
Well, hopefully setting kids up to succeed. We know many kids are on summer break now. You don't get summer break, so thank you for doing the work you do, and we appreciate you being here tonight, Chris Reykdal. David, back over to you.
All right.